What's up, everybody? It's me, Greg Miller, and that's the Pride of Long Island, Kyle Moriarty.
Good to be here.
Then we're
Off
here.
to a good start.
EA's Peter Moore.
I am so impressed so far.
Let me tell you.
This thing is a technological tour de force.
At the beginning of the show, people were thinking in the comments, oh, kind of funny, step their game up. They're not the same 5 guys who work in a spare bedroom. I have a tie on. People think you're professional when you got that. But then we really quickly, when Cisco came out and the whiteboard was here, we showed our true colors. That anything goes here. We just don't care.
Yeah.
How are you, though, sir?
I am doing just fine. At E3, my 16th E3.
Your 16th E3.
16th E3. Yeah,
you don't look a day over
I
at 10
came here
E3s.
when I was 12, and this could be the best E3. And I'm just seeing a little logo right through there.
Oh, Star Wars Battlefront.
Look at that. And that feels to me like the game of the show already. I may be biased.
You're just a little bit biased.
I could be a tad biased.
So tell me, does this ever get old? Does E3 ever get old?
You know, the energy, the excitement, the way our industry, since I joined to launch the Dreamcast, if you remember the little console that could and couldn't at the end. But it is, and I've seen this industry grow. More and more people come every year. And then when you're looking around at the screens, just as I sit here, and I remember the days when this was all standard definition, you know, and
giant CRTs.
Absolutely, lots of pixels and screens that really didn't show off the games well. And the energy, the excitement of E3, it really shows how far our industry's come, and quite frankly, how superior we are to just about any other entertainment medium. I mean, it's a source of pride for me, having been a part of this over the years.
I agree 100%, yeah. So then, here we are on the show floor, everything's happened. For EA, how's it gone so far? You had your conference, the show floor has been open.
Yeah, we had a great conference yesterday, as we always do. We led with Mass Effect. Got a bit of a cheer.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Mass Effect.
I got a lot of questions about this. So how is the N7 logo happening in another galaxy? Was this human kicked over there before?
See, this is what you're already going downhill. This is where Mass Effect 3 ended up. You're gonna get it. You're gonna want to know the ending already.
Yeah.
You know, it's not gonna happen.
Damn it! Almost had you tripped
Peter
out.
Rainaman.
Mirror's Edge in the middle. Our sports franchises look great. Pelé means nothing to you guys. Pelé being on the stage was a thrill of a lifetime for me. Greatest player that ever lived. And then being able to close the Star Wars Battlefront and me having the honor to introduce Lena, our executive producer from Stockholm.
Yeah.
And the game looks spectacular.
No, that was the thing we took away from it. We sent our friend Chloe to go see it down at Star Wars Celebration. Yeah. And when she came back and was telling us about it, I was like, I have to see this game. So to finally see the footage yesterday, I was
and
blown
as
away.
you know, right through there, 40-player live on our show floor. It looks fabulous.
You're not messing around.
No, we're not messing around.
Yeah.
Fully playable, 40-player multiplayer.
With a publisher as big as yours, with a vast library of games and studios and partners, how do you boil that down to 60 or 90 minutes for a press conference? How do you figure out what you're going to show and the variety of games you're going to show? Because you have to touch on your sports and your mobile and everything. So how do you do that?
So you start about 3-4 months out, and you have to work with the studios based on, there's 2 things you have to do. The studios still need to deliver the game.
Right.
But to deliver the assets, as we call them, the videos that you saw yesterday, usually you have to take a team away from actually writing the code and getting the game to where it needs to be to focus on an E3. And in a couple of months, we'll be focused on Gamescom in Cologne. And so you make a value judgment of what we need to do to either show, you can do a trailer or you actually have multiplayer. We made the decision that Battlefront has got to be playable on the floor, and the same with Mirror's Edge. So Mirror's Edge is playable right there on the floor. That takes a lot of work from the game teams, but you make hard calls. What you don't want to do is take a team off to deliver an asset for a show and then jeopardize the actual game itself. Right. So you have to make those choices as you go along.
How exciting was it to finally get to reveal Mirror's Edge? You know what I mean? Like last year at E3, you guys got to do things like basically like we're working on it. Yeah. Everybody chill out, but finally to answer fans right and show all that footage.
Well, I have the good fortune of being able to go to Stockholm on a regular basis and seeing the team and seeing this game come along. And the one thing that's striking, if it wasn't evident from Sarah's presentation, is you've got a group of people there at DICE that just live and die for faith, the storyline, being able to bring in this kind of anti-establishment element of it. And yet it's a game that's based on stealth. You've got a very powerful female lead, which is important in our industry nowadays. And it's a beloved game. Was it a massive commercial success? No, not really for us. Is it a game that gamers wanted and we felt obligated to bring back? Absolutely. And that's what we've done.
Yeah, I'm curious to know more about that, because that's what I was thinking. Was it obvious to go back to Mirror's Edge, or did you guys have to figure out, well, does it financially make sense The people obviously want it, but maybe they're a smaller group because EA has probably bigger sales expectations than a normal publisher.
Look, if it was about making money, you're right. There's probably other games. Cheers. There's probably other. Just water, right?
Oh yeah. If I can get the good stuff. Grayson, get the good stuff.
Very good.
Don't forget about the hot peppers.
There are other games that if you just were focused on making more money, you could probably put your team on that. But the belief and the love of the character, the storyline from the original game, and our obligation to just not leave it there and move on because we probably couldn't make as much money with Mirror's Edge when it comes to it, that's wrong. That's not players first for us. So team wanted to do it, we greenlit it. I'm responsible for all the revenue in the company, billions of dollars, and it's my job to go sell it. And it's a very commercial game. Now the interesting thing is, some people can't play it because of the first-person view. And if you ever tried the first one, there was a group of people that vertigo and jumping off the buildings, and that's even more enhanced this year with the quality, obviously, of the fidelity of the graphics. But I think this is going to be a runaway success. I don't lose any sleep over Mirror's Edge.
I like it. You got to weed them out.
Yep.
Everybody's trying to hold each other's hands. It's Darwinism. You can't play this? Too bad. Get out of here. You had your
shouldn't
shot.
be playing games.
Exactly.
You can't play first person. Get out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
Go watch movies.
So, you're talking the player first initiative, and I think that shines through. Your conference, you came out and you basically are talking about the tent poles that hold up this conference and have all these awesome things in it. And then you go through and you have things like EA Access. You have these different things. You're on mobile. You're trying to engender new games. I, as an industry pundit, right, think EA's doing a great job at all this stuff. Does it get you down when, like, the haters in the comments, who love to hate on me as well, want to come out and be like, EA sucks, I hate this?
Well, that's how you get clicks. You lead off with EA sucks, right? And then you go from there.
Oh, man, we got to start retitling all our videos.
Now, as a company, for a few years, it really started. I love the company. I love the people that work there. And it was difficult. Look, worst company in America, if you believe that, not many of us do, but when that's the headline, if you lived in the Bay Area, and when that came out 2 years ago, as we do, and CBS News led with that, and your next door neighbor says, you work for the worst company in America? What's that about? Without understanding the facts. And so, but to be blunt, we put a lot of initiatives in place. The idea of players first is not a tagline or a motto. It's how we run our meetings. It's how we make decisions. The number of meetings I'm in every single day where somebody said, is that players first? Let's think about that.
Yeah.
And we then reflect back and say, you're right, let's do it differently so they're players. With the belief that ultimately if you are players first, the good things will happen.
Sure.
And that's the key to the whole thing. And I think more and more you're hearing that in this industry as well. You heard it from Microsoft, listening, bringing the community, getting the community involved earlier in the development of the game. You heard it from Sony last night. Sony's love of the indie game movement is evident. It was last year, it certainly is this year. And things that we're doing, Unraveled. Look, again.
If you want to talk about that, and that was the moment in your conference in the GameSpot War Room where it went dead quiet, and the only thing you heard was, oh, no, oh. Like everyone was riding with that little guy.
And Yarny, the little guy, and Martin's presentation. Again, is this a game that we're going to make a lot? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Is this a game that deserves to be brought to gamers and wouldn't have been if EA hadn't stepped in and picked up a game that its developer and its funder had dropped, and Martin and that team of 14 developers had nowhere to go, and Patrick Soderlund, to his credit, spotted it in the outer reaches of northern Sweden, where only he goes. And
he's out there with a giant walking stick looking for
and
games.
said to us, can we sell this? Can we even break even? I said, sure we can. And if we don't, this game deserves to be brought to market. Martin, the founder of the company, just such an endearing human being. And, his story of Yarny and the fact that line is love, and the further you get away from your love, the less there's there.
Yeah.
And you have to bring it all back in again. I mean, I've seen him make that presentation 3 times. I tear up every single time. And when you meet him, he's such a genuine character.
And that's the thing, right? Like, it always kills me when we start having these conversations about our game's art, blah, 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 and you want to fight that fight. And I think we've overwhelmingly won that it's art, right? But it's when you meet the developers, the artists, and you get to talk to them and talk about how much they love it and what they do and how they all work it together. That's the thing where it really shines through. And his presentation, right, of his hands shaking while he does it and stuff like that, he won that entire room over because everyone was right there with him. He wasn't in front of hundreds of people. He was talking to you.
Yeah, and let me tell you, that was a risk, that all of a sudden we're going from boom, Need for Speed, boom, Mirror's Edge, boom, FIFA, and then Martin walks out on stage just on his own with his little yarny in his pocket, right? And tells a story about love. It's a risk that all of a sudden it feels uncomfortable or even cheesy or contrived. None of that was the case, and he's such a genuine character. Bottom line is it's our obligation, because we can afford to do it, to bring that game to market, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
You mentioned Battlefront up front, and obviously this is a game you guys are super excited about for this fall. How big of a boon is just being able to make Star Wars games for you guys, and do you feel like it's a big responsibility to treat it with care, since it seems to be
It's a huge responsibility, and if you've seen some of the videos over the last 12 months of the team in Stockholm who feel honored and privileged, and as I led off with my comments yesterday, you know, there are moments in your career and moments in this industry, the defining moments, that people working on Star Wars Battlefront in Stockholm right now will never forget, ever forget working on this game, ever forget going to Skywalker Ranch, never forget going to Muir Woods and seeing where Endor theoretically is, never forget going to Tatooine and Hoth, and they see it as a privilege, and our ability to bring it to life with the Frostbite engine and some of the most talented developers in the world. I mean, when we got this license, you can imagine every studio that we had in the world said, "I'll let us have this."
Yeah, their emails are knocking on your door.
Oh yeah, but DICE got it, and they sold into it because of their love of the franchise. When Lena yesterday was showing a little girl, you know, I think it was with a walker or but you know, and that's how broad this IP is. You know, it's 8 to 80, and it's almost with trembling hands ourselves we hold this license, because we better hadn't screw this up. Same way J.J. Abrams better hadn't screw up the movie.
Yeah.
Neither of us will.
Yeah,
I think that seems to be the case, right? I think we're going to say the same thing. You see you bringing in your most talented studios and assigning them things that make sense for them.
This is the varsity squad on this one. This is the A-team. And we owe that to Lucas and Disney. We owe that to George Lucas. We owe it to the fans. We owe it to the legacy. This is some of the most beloved IP in the world ever.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden it's going to get the rebirth. Somebody as talented as J.J. Abrams on there and bringing it, and we're within 3.5 weeks of the movie.
Yeah, you get to be a part of that, right? You get to get into this universe and bring in people like Amy Hennig and have her sit down and start crafting this story.
I see Amy every day.
Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of news about the story. You want to recap it?
Which story would that be?
Today Amy went out and she told us all about the story, but I'd like to hear from you.
Nice try.
Damn it, okay.
Greg, it was good.
I may be from Liverpool, but I'm not completely stupid.
So one of the questions as a man who works with this or really runs this huge publisher, you get to choose your partners and who you're going to dance with at E3. What kind of thought and how does that process go? Say, well, we're going to appear at Sony with this, and we're going to appear at Microsoft with this. I mean, how do you kind of figure those kinds of things out?
Well, you work with your partners. We love them all equally. We have agreements with them that are franchise-based. They figure out what games are going to drive their platforms, and then we kind of spread ourselves around accordingly. And you know, for me, it's always good to go back to Xbox because of my history and my legacy. And I had a great morning yesterday. You know, on the Xbox, it's just like old times for me. Right. Saw 50 people still working the show and the business that used to work with me. It was fun. Same time, fabulous dinner with Sony execs last night and talked about the business. So we're a third-party publisher, and that means all of our platforms are important to us. So you balance it out. I've done it for years. Right. I balanced it out. When I was at Xbox, we would go after EA. We aggressively went after Activision because we felt Call of Duty was going to be a meaningful title. We aggressively went after Ubisoft at the time for Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon Splinter Cell, but then this thing called Assassin's Creed came along, and then you meet Jade Raymond and you realize, this is all good.
Yeah.
Because it drives the platform. So, and what Xbox and PlayStation execs look at, what is going to drive our platform? Where's our install base going to come from? Because software drives hardware. And so Battlefront clearly is a title that's going to drive hardware.
So for you personally, coming to 16 E3s, what's your reason to keep coming back? What drives you? What is longevity in this industry?
Do you know what's funny, and it's not the answer you're going to expect, is when I walk from the South Hall to the West Hall and the 7 or 8 people that stop me and say, can I have a photo with you, or can I shake your hand, or you suck because of Shenmue, or whatever it is. Just
Very
still don't
blunt.
understand. I still don't understand. But the genuineness of folks, and I love talking to them, and what are you playing right now? And you know, I talked to a guy this morning about Crazy Taxi, and Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
You guys weren't born, but
I remember those games.
I had my Dreamcast.
and it's just it means something to them. And for some reason, I'm involved in that, you know, whether they saw me at E3 previously, you know, for good and for bad.
Yeah.
And my legacy of Sega and then Xbox and now EA spans some interesting eras of the industry. So I love coming here. I just love being stopped and being asked about, do you remember when? Or isn't this great what we're doing right now? So that's what I really enjoy about E3.
When did you notice this was more than just a job? Like when did it dawn on you that when you started all this that people were going to be stopping you? And
I left Reebok in January. I did 17 years in athletic footwear and sports marketing.
Yeah.
And I got a call, a recruiter said, do you know much about video games? I said, well, do you know Sega? I said, I know Sega. You know why I know Sega? Because I bought a Sega Saturn for $499 for my son, and then like 2 months later, apparently there's no games being made for it again. I said, what's that all about?
Yeah.
But I got to learn a lot about the industry. I joined Sega in February of 1999, and by 1999, we were launching the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
So I drank from the fire hose for an industry that I got to learn quickly, I got to love, that immersed itself in me as well as myself in it. And it is like an entertainment medium that is different than everything else. I love music.
Yeah.
We all love to watch TV. We all go to the movies. But these are passive and linear experiences that for the most part are solitary. And with the Dreamcast being the first online console, and all of a sudden it wasn't as on a couch playing together. You didn't have to come to my house anymore.
Across the country.
Across the world.
Yeah.
And bringing people together like we do. FIFA's a great example. Our Battlefield franchise is a great example. Millions of people every day. Friendships are made. Marriages are born. I mean, just the whole thing about connecting us socially is a brilliant part of this industry. And I love that. And I've been privileged to be a part of that journey for 16 years.
Yeah. That's not chump change, Colin.
No, no,
that's
definitely
a long
not.
time.
Definitely not. Oh, it's very long. I mean, we're here at E3. Obviously, you know, you're here representing EA. But what are you seeing anything else from other publishers or stakeholders?
There are other publishers.
There are other. Believe it or not, there are other publishers.
Atlas is right over there. Go dance on their floor.
Are there any
you spell that with a U or an A? That's the best guy with a U.
Is there anything around that kind of has caught your eye? That you might be interested in going home and playing?
When your eye is Mass Effect, Mirror's Edge, FIFA, Star Wars Battlefront, Unraveled, Tia.
We love you, Yarny, wherever you are.
Where are you, Yarny? I mean, I don't know why. I don't have enough. I mean, I'm just completely absorbed in our stuff now. I love seeing the annual franchises, the Call of Duties. It was great seeing Halo. I lived and died. I may or may not have a part of my body that is dedicated to that. Yeah. Forza, I was part of that team. Dan Greenwald and I, we all worked together when I was at Microsoft. So you touch so many parts of this industry as your career path goes through it all. You meet so many people. And, so I'm always, whilst it's the competition, I'm always happy. Look, when I was at Xbox, we knew Call of Duty. We knew Call of Duty was going to drive hardware.
Sure.
And we got behind it. We knew Assassin's Creed when it first came out. Gears of War, Cliffy B, you had this incredible, you had the Unreal Engine 3, you had this great character in Marcus Phoenix, you had Gears of War, and it all came together around the launch of the Xbox 360. So these are the things and you still have a soft spot in your heart, even though they're theoretically the competition. Sure. You know, do I worry that this holiday that Halo 5's coming? Yeah, you bet I do. But do I wish them poorly? No. It's great for the industry. The great games come out, sell lots of hardware. Rising tide lifts all boats, and we all benefit.
So now we've talked about you at E3. You come out. Now you're this giant celebrity. This massive celebrity, everybody's stopping you for autographs.
Went from giant
to massive.
Yeah,
in one sentence.
It's going to keep getting bigger.
My waistline.
I mean, you made this joke, right, of like, oh, you don't know what everybody else is doing because you're so hung up on what you guys are doing. What is the average day like for you? Everyone knows you. You come out, you make cool announcements, everybody applauds at you. That's not a normal Monday for you, right?
That's what I do every day. I'm just on air talent now. I get to work on I don't know if you've ever been to our campus in Redwood Shores. Yeah, so
you have a lovely cafeteria.
It's a great cafeteria. I spend more time in the fitness center, to be clear, but you may spend more time in the cafeteria. Great people. We have about 1,600 people on that campus. The energy, it's youthful. You know, I'd probably be like the second oldest guy on campus, which I'm perfectly fine with. It's a great place to work. The creative, the Sims is there. Our Battlefield Hardline franchise was developed there. I live 10-minute commute from there, get in, we're in a gorgeous location, go for a run on the water, and then I get to spend 7, 8, 9, 10 hours with some of the most fun people in the world. And we rally around each other. And particularly the dark times you were talking about when, quote unquote, we're the worst company in America, we always had each other. We knew that just wasn't true.
Yeah.
And you rally around each other. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And we've emerged a better company. A little bit more reflective, a little bit more focused, as we should have done, on the players, the way we build our games, the way we market our games. I'm responsible for all the revenue, and I'm held accountable for that. But at the same time, I also feel responsible for giving players a great experience as best we can. And that's what EA is all about.
When you started Player First and you started looking at games that feature Yarny characters, you're talking that you are the one in charge of the revenue and all this stuff. Is it a constant check and balance for you, or are you ready to take a loss here, do this to make sure that EA is making awesome games?
You know what? Unravel is a great example. You look at it, you do a forecast, you get your teams together and you say, okay, here's the game, here's the genre, here's the game, here's the delivery date, here's the platforms, here's the types of games we've seen before, what's the forecast, here's what it's going to cost to build the game, here's what it's going to cost to market the game, and you do a P&L. And Unravel might be one of those where, yeah, can we break even? Maybe, but is it, are we obligated to bring, because we can, because we're a company that has built a decent balance sheet because we've been successful? I think we are.
Yeah.
If not us, who? And this was a studio that was about to die. And to Patrick Solan's credit, spotted it. We have the resources to go help him, bring this game to fruition, get it out the door, and if we sell a bunch, great. If we don't, and people who buy it have a lot of fun with it, that's great too. I can go sell other things to make up the difference.
Sure. Madden's going to sell every year.
Yep.
You're
We'll
going to be okay
We'll
on
do
that
FIFA.
one.
We may sell a few copies of Battlefront. It'll all be good.
Yeah.
They're all going to be waiting for Mass Effect. Which again, that humanoid character with the N7 armor is in this other galaxy because?
What did you did you pee your pants a little bit when that N7 thing lit up? Yeah, just a little. Just a little.
Maybe a lot.
Maybe just a little.
Yeah.
When that light came on there, and there it is, and you suddenly realized what you were seeing.
I was pretty stoked. I'm very happy with what you're doing. You're going forward. It's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that.
Let the controversy begin. I'm sure there's already.
NeoGAF is aflame with threads.
That's right. Real or imagined already.
Yeah, they don't need.
They think they know the ending.
So that now, one thing we haven't touched on. You showed up at Microsoft first thing Monday morning. Talked about EA Access. Why is that an important program for you guys?
I think the ability for us to be able to give gamers for a very reasonable amount of money, the ability to sample all of the great games we do. Nobody has a bigger portfolio in this industry than Electronic Arts. From the FIFAs and the Maddens and the NHLs and the UFCs to the Need for Speeds, to the Unraveled, to everything that we do in our FPS in the first-person shooter category, not just Battlefields, but also Titanfalls and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. So you think about the breadth of what we deliver as a company. It's difficult to have a consumer spend $60, whatever they want to spend time, and experience all of it. So what do? You package it together, you start building subscription services. And when we think about our industry and entertainment, look, I don't buy music anymore. I'm a Spotify subscriber.
Just like you.
I don't need to own, I gave all my 8 tracks, I gave all my, because I never moved on. I gave them all away because I am very confident till the day I die that music will be in the cloud and I can pull it down anytime. I don't buy movies anymore, and I rarely go to the movies because of Netflix. Right. I pay $7.99 for Netflix, great value for money. If I need to see a movie, I'll do Comcast On Demand, and I pay $9.99, best $9.99 I pay being a Spotify subscriber.
Absolutely.
I discover music in ways that I would never pay for music. And I've had $50 in my iTunes account for like 2 years.
Forever. You just can't move it. You can't get rid of it.
I don't want to buy music. And so this idea of discovery is at the roots of what EA Access is. Look, you got 12 games in the vault right now, more games coming, so we announced Titanfall, then down the road, Dragon Age Inquisition. I talk to so many gamers. The guys that stop me out here say, I'm an EA Access subscriber. I'm not a soccer fan, but FIFA was there, and I started playing it, and it's like, oh my God, this is so much fun.
Nice.
And that's the key. It's about discovery. You and I listen to music.
Yep.
Throwback Thursdays or whatever we do on Spotify.
The playlists and all those are awesome.
That you wouldn't have bought it. And it's about discovery. You had 10% discount and you had 5 days early trial in the game. You throw me off. You throw me off.
I love you, Peter. They're kicking me off. They got to kick you off.
But we're so entertaining.
I know,
but I could talk to you for hours.
It's a shame to leave.
Don't leave then. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not leaving. A new Kind of Funny member. He's leaving EA. He's here for Kind of Funny.
We got to go.
A word from our sponsor and a trailer.
Do you give equity?